Now, as per the video I released last week about rising interest rates, you will know by now that I did indicate that interest rates in South Africa are set to rise to about 5.75% end of this year, and of course 6.5% by the end of 2023. Now, I did indicate to you on that video that this is something that, of course, it will slow down the growth of our South African economy and also hurt the stocks or the stock market here in South Africa. This is one of the things that, of course, I did indicate to you that it is not only happening in South Africa. Interest rates are being raised almost everywhere all over the world. So these interest rates, or the Federal Reserve increased these interest rates just to try and curb high inflation. As you already know by now that inflation in South Africa right now, it's sitting around 5.9%, which is not good at all. So if you check, or one of the things that, of course, I did announce on the video which I posted on Facebook on Monday, one of the things that so many South Africans are patiently waiting to see the figures is the core CPI. So core CPI is one of the most important things that is used to measure this inflation, which is something that, of course, the higher it becomes, it just definitely means that many products are becoming more expensive, which is something that I think as a retail investor or as an investor, you should definitely have that under your radar, as it is important, because like I said, it also has an impact in the stock market, because as products and services they are going up, of course the demand in going in and buy those products goes lower. So say for instance we look at the automotive industry, you'll notice that one thing that is of course logic is that the more the prices of cars increases, the sales will decrease due to the price hikes on these cars. So this is how this inflation, or this high inflation, affects even companies in the stock market. It is not just only in cars, even in houses. Think of stocks like Baldwin Properties, things of those other property stocks that of course are sometimes selling properties. They are definitely going to also get a huge impact due to this high inflation, because this just simply means that as their prices are going up or higher, then more and more consumers are going to be hesitant going to get a property. More and more consumers are going to be hesitant going to buy a car. More and more consumers are going to be hesitant going to take a loan in the bank or take a credit card or increase their credit card limit at the bank, simply because of these products going up in terms of the prices. So this high inflation, or the inflation that we are witnessing not only here in South Africa, but which is being witnessed in most of the countries in the world, it is seriously damaging or slowing down the rate of the economy of countries, which is why you are seeing here in South Africa things like petrol, they are up. You buy petrol at over 21 rands per liter. That's what you're buying petrol with. You look at things like your cooking oil, which, by the way, one of the things that is making these things, of course, adding the fuel on already this high inflation rates that we are seeing, is of course the Ukraine and Russia war, because Ukraine and Russia accounts for about 62% of sunflower oil exports and 30% of wheat exports globally. So the fact that there is currently war or tensions there, it is something that is also making things to be worse in terms of this high inflation, or being the one that is seriously adding fuel on the high inflation that was already there in most countries. So this is one of the things that, of course, me as a retail investor would really like to, of course, see peace amongst these two countries, as they are hurting the economies of most countries. Now, of course, like I said, this is one of the things that, to me, it's a short-term thing, meaning that even in the stock market, this is, or it is for these reasons why you are seeing the stocks that you follow, the stocks that you buy, the stocks that you own, not performing in the way they ought to perform. This is one of the main reasons why we are seeing stocks today falling sharply. Inflation, it is quite high, not only here in South Africa, but also in countries like the US, which is why the Federal Reserve is coming out and rise interest rates, trying to curb this high inflation, of which both of these two things, of course, they are seriously, of course, affecting or impacting the stock market, or most of the stocks that we buy in the stock market. So the reason why your portfolio is red is simply because of these things that are happening: high inflation and, of course, the rising of interest rates. These are the two main things that, of course, it is making your stock market portfolio to be a bloodbath when you open it, which is something that, like I said, this is something that, of course, it has happened previously. We have seen sharp falls in the stocks previously in the previous years, and once thing goes back to normal, of course, in terms of inflation, we are definitely going to see probably the Federal Reserve coming and try and reduce these interest rates, which is something that, of course, it will be good to the market, and again, going to make the stocks that you have been buying or the stocks that you own in your portfolio to recover. So, as I've said last week, I am expecting this year not to be a very good year in terms of returns. Even if you are to get returns in some of the stocks, of course, it won't be by much, because, like I said, the more the Federal Reserve comes out and rise interest rates, is the more we are going to see the stock market or the stocks that you own tumbling, not performing or not generating as much revenue as they should, due to the high inflation, due to the reasons which I told you, that consumers, of course, obviously are going to be hesitant, taking loans to buy cars, taking loans to buy new homes and other products and services, which is definitely going to hurt the companies that we invest on a day-to-day. But like I always say, these low trading prices of the stocks that we are buying right now, it is a good opportunity for you to, or for us to, probably go in the market and buy these stocks. Yes, I know that to others, obviously, they are even scared to open their platform right now, but let me tell you or remind you to say that this is the time to accumulate. When other retail investors are panicking, I think what you ought to be doing in the markets right now is to go in and buy those stocks that you've been buying, trying to bring your average purchase share price down, because one way or the other, as I'm telling you, these markets or these stocks will recover one way or the other. These short-term headwinds of inflation and government increasing interest rates, it is something that, of course, it might go over to 2023, but I think, or I personally think, that 2024 everything should be back to normal, unless there is something that, of course, happens along the way. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I just thought I should just give you a quick video about these latest news or latest developments that, of course, you need to be in the lookout for, which is the core CPI, or South African core CPI, which, by the way, the data is coming out tomorrow, so be in the lookout for that, because if the core CPI comes out to be above the expectations or what analysts expect, then we are going to see, of course, stocks in the JSE not performing good, whereas if it comes lower than what it is expected, then we might see some good rally in some of the stocks that you own locally. So this is one of the things that, as a retail investor, I'm closely monitoring tomorrow. Also, please do closely monitor that. And for those of you that follow me on my social media handles, that is Facebook, Twitter especially, I'm definitely going to give you the updates there once we get those figures in. Otherwise, with all that, guys, I make sense and tons of stock market investing videos, and if you think that this video was amazing, please don't forget to hit that like button. And you already know that this video is not a professional, or was not a professional financial advice video, and if you seek professional financial advice, you already know what to do by now. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, and God bless you all.